What's going on, fellas? How's everybody doing? I just wanted to jump in really quickly. It is Man Talk Mondays, something that I am trying out. For those of you who are catching me by replay, do me a favor, share this out as quickly as you can. Not going to be super long today, but I do want to get across three quick things that I want to share with my brothers, that are 5 things that your sons need from you. 5 things that your son needs from you. While we're waiting for a couple of people to jump in the room, for those of you all who don't know me, my name's Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, and I've created, along with my wife, an online relationship academy entitled MAPS. It stands for Marriages and Parenting Successfully. And there we created an online group coaching environment really for 4 types of people. Marriages, people who are married, people who are very serious about getting married, maybe you're dating. And so we call that our couples room. We have a room for parents specifically. I don't care if you're a co-parent, grandparent, foster parent, you're raising children and you need to be in an environment where there are people that are doing that on purpose, and there's a reason why they're succeeding in doing it. We invite you to be a part of that, as well as our men's group. And today we're going to be talking about some things that we have just been going over in our men's group. That meets on Sundays. The couples and the parents meet on Tuesday nights. And then we have the women. They meet every other Thursday night along with my wife. And we really go deep spiritually into just some things that help people sort of round out their lives. Good to see you, Sean. Thanks for jumping in the room. Do me a favor, guys. Share this out as quickly as you can. Today, I'm going to share a couple of quick tips on some things I think will help you. I wrote a book a number of years ago entitled How I Got My Son Back. How I Got My Son Back. And this book really is a journey, a man's journey to fatherhood. And here's what I had to realize, guys. And again, I'm just waiting for a couple of people to jump in the room, so share this out. I realized that I did not have what it took to be a good father because I was never taught that, not because I was a bad person. And I'm going to submit that many of our fathers are falling down on their jobs, not because they're bad people, but because no one ever taught them what that looks like. And I think that unfortunately there's too much stock. What's up, Akeisha? Good to see you. Says there's too much stock being put into this notion that you should already know, if that makes any sense. Marcus Jackson, good to see you jumping in the room, my friend. Too many people put stock and too much stock in that you should already know certain things. And I'm of the opinion that the truth is how would they know unless they've been taught? How would you know unless you've been taught? That doesn't necessarily give you an excuse for walking in ignorance. It doesn't give you an excuse for just leaning on this idea, well, I never knew and I didn't have a father. But when I realized that I didn't know something, I began doing some work to figure out how I could know that. So today we're going to talk about 5 things that sons need from their fathers. If you're listening to me and you're ready for these 5 things, put a 1 in the chat. If you are ready for these 5 things, do me a favor, put a 1 in the chat. Patrick, thanks for jumping on. Thanks for jumping on, guys. Thanks for jumping on. Do me a favor. I've already put in the I've already put in the chat today in the feed some questions that I want you to go back and fill out. And so if you are following along, George, thank you for jumping in the room. Akeisha, thanks for jumping. Thanks for giving me that 1. Thanks for giving me that 1. Now listen, guys, tag a brother. Ladies, tag a brother. This could be your husband, your father, your son, your nephew, however it looks. If he's a brother, I want you to tag him or share this out to a brother because they need to know this. This is something that I didn't know. We are going through a book with our men's group entitled 33. It's the series. It's called Authentic Manhood. I don't know if you can see that good with all the lights and the glare. But at any rate, this book is a game changer. And we're taking brothers through this book in our men's group because what I realized, guys, is that we need to be taught. I didn't learn this growing up. I didn't learn this until I was in my 30s, where I had to sit around groups of men to teach me how to be a man. And if a brother doesn't get around another brother to teach him these little I call them nuances. It's not the blatant stuff. It's the in-between stuff. It's the things that you just wouldn't pick up. It's the things that's caught, not taught. If you're not around a group of brothers that can help you do that and help you navigate through that, guys, you will never learn what you need to know when you need to know it. And so therefore, here's what happens. Just like we lost growing up, because 1 out of every 3 kids in America is growing up without their biological father in the home. Just like we lost, and I'm going to put it this way, we missed out. Our sons, too, will miss out if we don't learn these principles. So last week, we talked about 5, I think it was 3 deposits that I gave men that they need to make in their sons. And here's what I want to let you know. These are 3 things that the son needs from you. So the first was what you need to deposit in them. And today we're going to go over what they need from you. So number 1, I want you to put this in the chat, is they need time together. Men, young boys, listen to me very carefully. They need from you, from their father, they need time together. And the reason why they need time together is because there are some things that they are just going to pick up just by being around you, even when you don't know it. I never will forget one time, she's now my co-parent. I don't like to call her my ex-wife. She's my friend. She's my sister. She's my co-parent. And I remember her having a conversation with me before I got married again. And she said, I'm going to need you to be careful. I said, what you talking about? She said, I'm going to need you to be real careful of what you're doing around your son. At the time, he was 3 years old. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, because he is repeating things that I don't think you want him to repeat. I was like, okay. And I mean, and it kind of blew me away because she wasn't really willing to repeat it because, quite frankly, it was some stuff that she didn't want to know. You know, who I'm dating, who I'm seeing, what their children's names are, the name of the dog. And the truth is, and we were separated at the time, heading to divorce, unfortunately. But she said something to me that really made me understand the importance of spending time with my son. And that is, whatever you're doing, if you're spending time, they're going to pick up. So here's the good news. The good news is, if you want them to learn something really significant, spend time. But the flip side of that is, if you want them to learn something, if you don't want them to learn something that they should know, then you're going to have to switch up or stop spending time. And I'm going to advocate that you switch up. Because the truth is that they need to see you on a regular basis. So number 1, go ahead and put that in the chat for me if you can. 5 things that sons need from their dad, and that is time together. I put a blank in the feed if you want to fill in the blank as we go along. Shator, thanks for jumping in. Tony, thanks for jumping in. I appreciate my sisters for jumping in. Number 2, if y'all ready for number 2, put a number 2 in the chat. If you are ready for number 2, I need to know that I got some people here with me. I'm not just talking. I just ran in here from the gym. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. I'm thirsty. I don't want to be wasting my time. If you're ready for number 2, then put a 2 in the chat. I'll wait. Put a 2 in the chat if you are ready for number 2. Somebody talk to me. Who's ready for number 2? So we said number 1, the 5 things that sons need from their dads. Number 1 is time. Does that make sense? When you spend time with your son, what happens is that he intuitively, almost without even you telling him, he will begin to learn certain things, and you will begin to teach and show him certain things that will just change the course of his life. Okay, I appreciate it. Don Juanita, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but thank you for the number 2. Okay, so she said, I'm ready for number 2. Number 2, I want you to put the number 2 thing that sons need from their dad is life skills. Life skills. Keith, thanks for jumping in the room. Let me tell you what I mean by life skills. And you can fill that in the blank. Life skills. Put skills in the chat. Guys, listen to me really carefully. Life skills come 2 different ways. There are soft skills in life that need to be learned, and then there are hard skills in life that need to be learned. A life skill, hard life skill, would be maybe a trade, maybe something that they can do with their hands. I never will forget growing up and having to change the oil for the first time. And back in those days, we had shop class. And it was just a class that you took as an elective in middle school. And I remember that was the first place that I learned anything about fixing stuff. I didn't learn that from my dad. And I never will forget our shop teacher, happened to be a black guy, Mr. Harvey. Wow. That's the first time I done spoke his name since 8th grade. Mr. Harvey was a Q. I remember him having the brand in his arm. I didn't know nothing about what a Q dog was, an Omega Psi Phi. All my Greek dudes, they would understand that. And I never will forgive him being just a man's man and teaching us certain skills, certain things that we could learn, that we could actually go out and make a living. So life skills is something that a father needs, or a son needs to learn from his father. The other part of that is a soft skill. Now, let me tell you something about power. When a man is able to teach his son the soft skill of communicating, I promise you that young boy will go to a completely different level. It's one thing to learn how to communicate because you're around a bunch of women. That was me. No disrespect. Love my mom to pieces. Would not trade her for $1 million, all the tea in China. But there were some soft skills that I needed to learn with my father, because here's what I didn't realize then. My father is a pretty good communicator. The problem is that I didn't learn the logic part of communicating from him. I had to learn that the hard way. And so I was a great emotional communicator. And trust me, if you understand anything about communication, you'll know what I mean. But I could not communicate out of logic. And so I couldn't reason well, because that part should have come from my dad. And as a result of him not being available, not being around, I didn't get that until I was well into my late 20s. I could talk, but I did not have the ability to communicate. What am I talking about? One of the 5 things that fathers absolutely need to understand. Your sons need this from you, and that is life skills. And I'm going to say a hard skill and a soft skill. Chris Davis, thanks for jumping in the room. Imani from Philly, what's up? Good to see you, sis. Thanks for jumping in the room. Do me a favor, share this out. So we've already gone through 2 of the 5. If you're ready for number 3, just put that in the chat. For those of you all who are waiting around for somebody to put a number 3 in so Glenn can go, I want to encourage you, if you are a brother and you're looking to join a group of brothers who are growing in their manhood together, digging down on who we are spiritually, who we are in the natural, how do we process through what it is that we go through as men so that we can grow ourselves and then grow our sons, I really want to encourage you to come and join our MAPS men's group. We meet every Sunday night at 7 p.m. We're going through a book right now, of which I'm getting some of these principles that I'm talking to you about, called the 33 series on authentic manhood. Unbelievable book on manhood. We encourage you to come on and be a part of that. Just go to thecrcoach.com if you want to be a part of it. So I'm going to go to number 3. I don't see anybody typing in that they ready for number 3. Who is ready for number 3? Now, I already did 1 and 2. 1 is time together. 2 is life skills. Who's ready for number 3? Who is ready for number 3? I need to see it in the chat. Who is ready for number 3? Talk to me, guys. Who's ready for number 3? I ain't got nobody ready for. Oh, okay. Thanks, Imani, because I was going to stay right here. We was going to press pause. What's going on, nephew? Good to see you jumping in the room. Proud of the job you're doing as a father, young man. And we're going to go ahead and go to number 3. So number 3 is, listen to this, direction. You can just put direction, but I'm going to give you an explanation on that. The number 3 thing that fathers need to provide their sons is directions. This is what your son needs from you. But not just any directions. Direction with solid answers to the why questions in life. I'm going to say that again. Your sons, fathers, listen to me carefully. They need direction from you to the why questions in life. Why do I feel this way? Why does a woman think that way? Why is it that I'm having to navigate through maybe discrimination? Why is that? Why is it that she don't understand me, Dad? I'm trying to communicate the best way I know how, and there seems to be a disconnect. Why is that? Why is it that I can't seem to get along with the dudes that I'm working with at work? Why? These are the why questions in life that sons absolutely need to get direction from their fathers on in order to navigate that stuff through properly as a man. Now, here's what I'm going to promise you. If a brother, young brother, a son doesn't get that direction from his father, he's going to get that direction from somewhere else. He'll fill in that blank on his own. And here's the problem with that. I learned this the hard way. Many of you guys learned this the hard way. Most often we're wrong. Most often, the conclusion that we come to or the answer that we come up with on the why questions in life, a lot of times they're in error because we're learning those why questions on the street. We're learning those why questions in the bathroom in some high school somewhere, talking with our boys. We're learning these why questions. We're trying to figure out life questions by ourselves. And if you want to see a man get off course, there's no quicker way than I've seen men get off course when they're trying to figure out what is the why to some of the hard questions in life. Why do I seem to keep getting these women pregnant? And it's not because I'm having sex with them. That ain't the point. There is a need that you have to be with women to the point to where you just are just willy-nilly and there's just this level of satisfaction that you get just by showing up and just inserting yourself quite literally into their lives, and you can't figure out what's going on with you that won't allow you to keep popping these babies out left and right. Why? You need a man to be able to sit down and say, come here, son, let me holler at you. Here's what's going on. There's a void you have in your soul right now. There's something that you're searching for. There's something that you need. There's a desire that you're looking to have fulfilled. Dudu, my sister from South Africa. What's going on, sis? It's been a long time. Good to see you in the room. Rashawn, thanks for joining the room. Do y'all feel me? Do me a favor. If you feeling me, give me a thumbs up. If you feeling me, give me a heart. Heart it up if you feeling me. If you understand, if this is connecting to you, man or woman, if this makes sense, give me some likes, give me some hearts, because I just need to know that I'm connecting. Guys, listen to me carefully. Young boys need to hear from their fathers. Listen to me very, very carefully. The answers or solid answers to the why questions in life. And when they do not get that from their fathers, they will make it up. And that's why, sisters, sometimes you see yourself marrying grown boys. I'm going to just say it. I'm going to sip my water while y'all think on that one. Me included. My former wife married a grown boy because I could not figure out the why questions in life. And so when my mother asked me the question, well, why are you in a rush to get married so quickly at 20 years old? It wasn't because she didn't have love for my former wife. She's known that girl since she was a little girl. That wasn't the issue. It was, what's going on inside of you that's pushing this so quickly? Is she pregnant? The answer was no. But there was a significant answer to that question that I couldn't give. And so what I do, I just pushed on through it. Get married anyway. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to say it was the worst decision because it wasn't. But there was a whole bunch of things I did wrong. A whole bunch of things because I didn't know how to answer that question. We're going to go to number 4. If y'all ready for number 4, put a number 4 in the chat. I'm going to need to hear from y'all. Number 4. Number 4. If you are ready for number 4, give me a heads up. Let me know. Put the word 4, put the number 4, put the 4 fingers, put something that says 4 in that chat, and I'll keep going. We talking about the 5. Listen to me, guys. The 5 things that sons need from their dads. Number 1, they need time together. Number 2, they need life skills. Number 3, they need direction. Direction to the solid answers of the why questions in life. And number 4, I appreciate that, sisters, for putting that 4 in there. And now here's the ironic part. My sisters are chiming in. Fellas, listen to me carefully. This is your job. You need to be chiming in. If you on this feed, then I need to hear from you. Don't be silent. Don't sit back and let the sisters answer for you. I want you to answer because this is our challenge, me included. We learn how to just let them go first. There's such thing as ladies go first, but this talk is designed for men. So I'm going to need my brothers to go first. So next time I ask for a question, you be quickest one on the draw and you put it in. My replay viewers included. That makes sense? Akeisha, thanks for that number 4. Monty, thanks for that number 4. Number 4 is, I want you to put, it's the deep life convictions. The word that goes in that number 4 is convictions. Convictions. I appreciate that, Sean. Thanks for participating, my friend. Convictions. Convictions is number 4. Convictions. Deep life convictions. Listen to this statement. I think it's the most powerful statement that I've heard in quite a while. We went through this last night in our group, in our men's group. And it says, you will leave in your son what you lived out in your home. You will leave in your son what you lived out in your home. I'm going to say that again. Conviction says that whatever you live is what you'll leave. If I live a life of integrity, that's what I'll leave. If I live a life of always getting over, that's what I'll leave. If I live a life of authority and being able to go and come and submit and exert and flow in authority properly, that's what I'm going to leave. If I leave a disregard, a hatred for authority across the board, sorry about that. Got a call. I thought I had it on do not disturb, but apparently not. So y'all hear me clearly? If you are not careful, fellas, listen to me carefully. Thanks for jumping in, Dr. Beecham. It only hurts on Mondays, sir. It only hurts on Mondays. All my pastor friends would understand. But the truth is guys, is that when we're talking about what am I going to leave for my son, there are 5 things that I need to be concerned about leaving for him. Now, here's what I will say. Jihad, thanks for jumping in the room, my friend. Many of us will say this, well, I never had a father to teach me, so therefore I'm coming up short on what to teach my son. I get that. That's me. My father wasn't there to teach me. But here's what I'm not going to do today. We're not going to cry about that, and we're not going to complain about that. What we are going to do is we're going to be self-aware of that, understand, okay, that's my truth. I get that, no doubt. But now that I know that to be the case, and there's some things that my son is missing, that means that I have to go and get them. If I realize as a grown man that I'm coming up short in some areas where my children need me or my wife needs me, it's incumbent upon me, now that I know that I'm missing them, to go and get them. That's what men do. And so I just want to encourage you fellas that we don't get to make the excuse that my dad wasn't there. Welcome to the 1 out of 3 kids growing up in America. Their biological father was not in their home while growing up. That's a statistical fact. I'm not making that up. That's just true here in America. So if that is the case, then what do we do? How do I change the direction for my son? The way I do that is I educate my way out of that hole. I need y'all to hear that. The way you break a generational curse is you train your way out of it. I'm going to let that one breathe, as my coach would say. The way you break a generational curse, meaning my father wasn't there, his father wasn't there, his father wasn't there, is that you train your way out of it. In other words, kids do what they see you do. And so if my father wasn't there for me, and I did exactly that to my son because I wasn't there for him in his earlier years, the way I changed that tide is that I trained myself out of that position and I asked myself hard questions. What do I need to do to show up for him consistently? What do I need to do? And so as I'm learning that, and the way I learn that is by investing in myself, I read, I'm in accountability groups with brothers, all kinds of different groups, because some of them I actually pay for, believe it or not. Like I'm willing to invest in me in order to get what I need and so that my seed can live. And that's how you get out of a generational rut. It's not hocus pocus. The Bible says in Proverbs 22, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart from it. The question is, depart from what? Depart from the training. And so if your training is poor, then that's what you're going to perform like. If your training is good, if it's solid, then that's what your son is going to get. So we're talking about the 5 things the sons need from their dad. Number 1, we said time together. Number 2, we said life skills. Number 3, we said direction, right? Direction to the solid, or with solid answers to the why questions of life. Number 4, we said deep life convictions. We said the statement, you will leave in your son what you lived out in your home. If you don't live it in your home, if he doesn't get to see it in you, I promise you what you will leave is a blank. If he doesn't see it in you, you, Dad, I am talking to me too, will leave a blank. And that blank means he gets to fill it in. And that's dangerous. Y'all got to hear me. That's dangerous. When a young boy is left to himself to fill in the blank, you are asking for trouble. Fathers, hear me clearly. You already know what it looked like in your life. We got left to ourselves. Nobody was there. In many cases, we had to figure that joint out on our own. And some of us had fathers there, but our fathers was not emotionally available because he was too busy trying to bring home the paycheck, bring home the money, provide and do what needed to be done. Because his generation, that's all they taught them was to just bring home the money, provide a roof over your head, put clothes on your back, food in your stomach, and give you no reason to not know what a work ethic looked like. Hello? I know that's right, Dr. Beecham. You know I'm up in here, bro. This is the way we live. This is the way we operate, fellas. And I'm telling you, we're doing a disservice to our sons if that's all we're teaching them. I'm not saying that's wrong, but if that's it, guys, they are coming up short. Because there's an emotional IQ, there's an emotional intelligence that they're not learning. And so when it comes time for them to navigate through the emotional parts of relationships, they can't do it. And it's because they never saw that from their dad. They never saw a man traffic in emotional intelligence. They've never seen that. And so my question again goes back to what we said before. How will they know unless we teach them? Stop it. That's why sisters are so frustrated. If I can speak to that real quick before I go to number 5. Sisters are frustrated because they assume that we should just know. They assume that, you know what? Well, he ought to know that. He's a man, right? No, he's a male. And just because he's a male don't make him a man. I was a male for almost 30 years, 32 years. I was a male. I didn't become a man until I was almost 35 years old. I don't know if that makes any sense. So this is no judgment, no disrespect. I just want to tell you this is our plight. And the way you fix this is that you train your way out. If you're ready for number 5, just drop a 5 in the chat. You can give me a high five. You can even give me a fist bump. I'll consider that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me a 5 in the chat if you're ready for number 5. Let's go. Come on, fellas. I need to hear from you. Give me a 5 if you're ready for this 5th thing. I'm not moving until I hear from a brother. I need a brother to give me a 5. I appreciate that, Amani. I need a brother to give me a 5. I need a brother to give me a 5. Come on. Come on. Y'all on the call. Stop what you're doing. Type a 5 in the chat so I can know we together. Thank you for joining the room, guys. Thank you for joining the room. Okay, Marcus Jackson, I appreciate it. Marcus gave me a waving 5. I'll take that. So number 5, the 5th thing that every son needs from their father, listen to me very carefully, guys, is a dad's heart. Is a dad's heart. And let me tell you what I mean when I say a dad's heart. A dad's heart is able to say out of his mouth, I love you. A dad's heart is able to say out of his mouth, I'm proud of you. A dad's heart is characterized when a man can affirm his son. I was overjoyed and when I had a chance to look at some of the accomplishments of some brothers that I know across the board. Dr. Beecham's son just graduated from college. Amazing, right? A partner of mine, pastors a church, Robbie Davis. Many of you guys know him. Incredible man of God. Love this brother. It's my dude. Been knowing him for over 30 years. His son, his first son, just graduated from college. All kinds of accolades. Here is one of the things that I've noticed consistently when fathers, sons go on to accomplish things. What I'm learning how that if you notice, even on Facebook, you'll see words of affirmation from those fathers to those sons about their accomplishments. Things like, I'm proud of you, son. Things like, man, you did it. Things like, wow, you should be really, really excited. Great step. Your life is now on track. Things like that. Sons need to hear from their dads that they have been affirmed. They need to hear from their fathers, I love you. The words. Not just, oh, I know my father loved me because, you know, he was always there. That's a given. Here's how I know you love your son. You'll take a bullet for him. I know that. That's a given. Here's what they need to know. They need to hear that. Because now when you start speaking words, let me help you guys understand. Words are spirit and they're life, right? And so if the word is life, then you're giving life when you speak those words of accolade and affirmation to your son. My son to this day is 24 years old. He and I live in different states. He's doing his thing. He's trying to recover from a very, very rare disease. And he's doing his thing. And I'm so freaking proud of him. I don't know what to do with myself. He's crushing the game in real estate. And he's doing what needs to be done, not making any excuses. And regularly, I have to call him and say, bruh, I'm proud of you. I have to tell him, bruh, you got more heart than I do because I don't know if I could stay the course with what it is that you're battling against. My nephew jumped online. He had a stroke at 23, 22 years old. When does that happen? A perfectly healthy young man. But I'm often having to tell him, look, bruh, you are crushing it when it comes to taking care of your son and you're doing your job. Men, listen to me. A dad needs to speak into his son's life, and a son needs to hear from his father, well done. Well done. You're doing a fantastic job. What it does, guys, it provides two things. One, it provides encouragement. Two, it provides esteem. When you speak words of life to your son, you encourage him, you give him confidence. And number two, you give him esteem. Meaning now he feels like there ain't much I can't do. You ever see cats walk in the door and they just got confidence coming in the door? You like, where in the world? And y'all will want to call him cocky. I bet you somewhere along the line, there's a man encouraging him and giving him words of affirmation. If not his father, a father figure of some kind, he knows that he's the man because a man told him he was the man. Gentlemen, I want to encourage you that if you are enjoying just this Man Talk Monday series and you want to hook up with me and a bunch of other guys and we get together online in a group coaching environment every Sunday night at 7 p.m. It's called MAPS, Marriages and Parenting Successfully for Men. Do me a favor, go to thecrcoach.com. Somebody put that in the chat if you can. www.thecr, as in constant relationship, coach.com, thecrcoach.com. If you miss it in the feed, then just go to the beginning of the feed and you'll see it right there under the description. But here's what I want you to do. Stop making excuses because you got left to yourself. Welcome to the club. And I'm not saying you're doing it, but there are times where I have to catch myself making excuses. The way it sounds for me is, you know what, I never was good at that, so I ain't even going to try. I'm 51 years old, and I'm doing things that I've never thought I would do because I'm deciding, you know what, out with that myth that I'm too old to learn something new. Out with that myth that there was nobody ever to teach me because I ain't got time. I got a legacy to leave. I got people who are dependent on me, namely my children, my son, my daughter, my grandchildren. They are depending on me to step up and be the man, not just talk about it. Tonight, we're going to be wrapping up a group. We're going to be getting together with a group of guys over here in Hampton Roads, Newport News, over at Dominion Outreach. If you are in the 757, you'd like to come through, just check out my feed and you'll see the posts of the address in Newport News. If you can't make it, if you're outside of the 757, I'm going to be doing a teaching tonight as I wrap up. And basically, it's a Q&A on what it is that you're going through specifically as a man. I want to invite you to come into a Zoom room. It won't cost you nothing. It's a conference room. It's a video chat. You'll come in. It'll be the guys there physically. You can come in. All you need to do is slip me your email address in my DM or PM, whatever you want to call it. Instant message me your email address and say, Glenn, listen, I'm out of the 757. I don't live in Hampton Roads, but I would love to be a part of that meeting you're going to do tonight. It's free for the guys local. It's free for you guys that want to jump in. I just want to deposit what it is I got. Here's my commitment. Let me tell y'all why I do this. Because no one was there for me. Until I ran into a group of men who showed up consistently and poured in my life, I was on a destructive course. I was on a self-destructive course, and I was ruining my life. And so now this is my way of paying it forward. This is my way of giving back and saying thanks to the brothers that came through and showed me love when my father was absent. And so I get emotional about this because I ain't afraid to cry. I ain't afraid to show up emotionally because there are a bunch of brothers out there who need to be fathered. And I'm telling you right now, I can't save the world, not trying to. But I promise you, I can catch one or two. And if I do that, we're doing a good job. So if you're in the 757 and you need manhood training, you need a group of brothers that you can trust, people who ain't got no whole bunch of pomp and circumstances, and they not going to be talking a bunch of craziness, we're going to get together and we're going to chop it up. It's the end of a 3-week series that I've done over there at Dominion Outreach, and I'm super excited about it. So my great friend, Pastor Ray Johnson, is doing an incredible job in that area. And so I just want to invite you, if you're not in the area and you want to be a part of that, again, just slip me your email address and show it up, and then I'll invite you to a Zoom room. I'll send you a link. It'll give you a link to come into a Zoom room that's completely free. It'll just require about an hour and a half of your time tonight, and we're going to do some things that most of us never get to do. Guys, that's all I got for today. I'm going to go ahead and jump in the shower. It's been a long, hot morning. just got back from the gym. But here's what I want to tell you guys. Stop with all the excuses and do yourself a favor. Do your son a favor. And I want you to show up and make sure that you make that deposit. Make sure not only that you make that deposit, but that he gets those 5 things in order to be able to grow properly as a man. And we'll go over them one quick time more. Number 1, it's time together with you. Number 2, it's life skills. Number 3, it's the direction with solid answers to the why questions in life. Number 4, it's deep life convictions. In other words, you will leave in your son what you've lived out in your home. And if you want to leave him deep convictions, he needs to get that from you. And number 5, a dad's heart. Be willing to say, I love you. Be willing to say, you know what, I'm proud of you. Be willing to say, you know what, you matter, and affirm that young man because he needs you. Gentlemen, appreciate your time. Thank you. If you're enjoying this, I'm going to try and show up every Monday, 12:30. Call it Man Talk Mondays. We'll be talking about a bunch of different subject matters. If you want to chime in, just do that. If you're enjoying this, share it out, tag somebody. And at the end of the day, here's what I always like to leave everybody with. Hashtag, listen to me. We all need some help. Y'all have a blessed one today.